A badge of honor. Police officers and first responders wear badges to let their communities know they are here to protect and serve. But that's not how it feels today, and the stress of the job is taking its toll, taking lives through suicide and post-traumatic stress injury. A Badge of Honor podcast features the cast of the same name, Sam Horwitz and John Salerno. Sam, John, and the team offer the first responders workshops through their critical incident stress management teams and mental health liaisons to offer state-certified T-COLE credit programs that save lives. It's time to smash through the stigma. It's time to heal from your injury, and it's time to back our blue. Welcome to A Badge of Honor podcast. Here are your hosts, Sam Horwitz and John Salerno.
Hey, welcome to A Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam. We are powered by the OBBM network, and you can catch us on any of your streaming platforms across the networks. Man, hey Sam, how you doing?
Hey, doing great today, John. It has just been, well, as you like to say, it's been a shit show.
Yeah, you know, those are the same words that were going through my head.
Yeah, it is just following this whole Secret Service thing. And, you know, for those of you guys who have been following me on my personal social, did a video. I got another one that's coming out with a great guy out of New Jersey. And it is just, you know, when you start having what is supposed to be the premier law enforcement agency in the world, because of
zero fail rate.
Right, zero fail missions. We are the tippity top. Sorry, yeah, there's a little ego because of the training. But when you start pointing fingers at the locals who you rely on regularly to do your job, that's not a good combination for continued cooperation. Because once you throw people under the bus, they're going to be like, we're not working with you anymore. You figure out how to make your mission successful. We've got a failed leadership all the way up to the top. From the former director, the now acting director, to all the way to Mayorkas. We've got an FBI who I don't think he can find the difference. He doesn't even know his ass from his elbow. I mean, Jesus Christ. Excuse me, didn't mean to take the Lord's name in vain. But it's pathetic. And now we're gonna have the political circus. And knowing everybody's pointing fingers, lying through their teeth, I don't think Congress is going to get any answers. And it's just the shit show is going to continue. But you know what we need to do? That is why I will say right now, law enforcement out there, first responders out there, you guys need to take care of yourselves. I know it is tough. Nobody likes to have fingers pointed at them. Be the bigger person. See the bigger mission. As much as you want to punch somebody's lights out because they're just being ignorant fools, be bigger. You've got a mission no matter where you serve, no matter how small your town is. You guys have your mission. Stay true to that mission. Do your jobs with integrity, the way you know how to do it. And support each other. It's a time to support each other, not tear each other down. And, you know, our guest tonight, he is all about supporting our first responder community. And he created something that is just, every time I think about it, it puts a smile on my face, because we talk about it all the time in terms of supporting each other. Our families need to be supported. They need a place to come together. And Eric Reynolds, he goes by Keto 50, has created something called Cops and Campers. And he's doing it with class, with style, and he's saving lives. Eric Reynolds, welcome to A Badge of Honor podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me, Sam and John. I'm looking forward to it.
Welcome, Eric. So you're out in the wilderness right now. We're not looking at any coyotes going to jump through there, or
no, there's no bears. No bears. Maybe some Dems. That's about it. No, I'm just joking. I'm just playing.
There
I
we go.
was looking at your webpage the other day, and it's just you got. I'm going to say you got balls. You got a big pair of balls, because what you did to really get mentally healthy, you took that extra step, man, and you sacrificed a lot to gain so much, if that makes sense.
Oh, I did.
And I envy that, because there's a lot of people that couldn't do that, but you did it for the betterment of you and the family. And I think that is a huge step in getting healthy in mental health. So kudos, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, just tell everybody watching and listening on their favorite podcast app about you, how you got into law enforcement, and ultimately starting Cops and Campers. And we've got the comment stream is live and open. So if you've got messages for Eric or you want to ask a question, go ahead and let's get that started.
So yeah, the cop story, I guess it began with my mother. She became a homicide sergeant for Miami-Dade Police Department in 1975. Well, she didn't become a homicide sergeant yet, but she worked her way up. She's actually featured in the series Griselda on Netflix. Her character is Detective June Hawkins, who's like the competing cop that caught Sofia Vergara, who's playing, Griselda Blanco. So it was kind of a cool thing to see my mom's history, because she was in a couple of books, and then the producers of Narcos had reached out to me in 2019, and they wanted to talk to my mom, and she's retired up in Tennessee, and she's like, all right, yeah. And now they turned it into a...
They just called you and said, hey, can we talk to your mom?
Yeah. Well, part of the cop story too was in 2019, I found a brother through DNA on 23andMe, and he was a cop in Orlando, 2 hours away. And it's actually his birthday today. Happy birthday, Dave Stull. I mean, if you Google
Happy birthday, Dave. Yeah.
If you Google Cop Brothers DNA, we were on Fox and Friends. We had a really big cameo in Hollywood. People were seeing us because it was such a fantastic story.
Wow.
With two officers that didn't know each other for 50 years, and they're 2 hours away, and they share the same father. So that's a whole crazy show in itself. But he'd been camping. He got me into camping, which is kind of what we're doing now. But pretty much my mom was a trailblazer. She's part Cuban. So she was, she is Cuban, not just part, but she was able to use her skills, understanding the language and doing undercover work and wiretaps way back in 1978, 79. Wow. So she was a super cop. And then my stepdad's also in Griselda. He's a Detective Singleton. And it's just crazy. I'm the third best cop in my whole house. So it's, that's pretty much how I got started,
Yeah, and you went through a life-changing event, which kind of led you, your PTSD diagnosis that you talk about, and ultimately, you talk about anger. There's a documentary that you did. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, in 2012, I was shot in the line of duty by a bank robber. We ended up shooting and killing him. I was shot through the left foot, and I had a graze off my right leg. And that led me to go down, didn't know it at the time, because you're getting hero welcomes and awards and stuff. But over time, stuff creeps in, and then you realize you're kind of going through something, and then you don't know where to go with it. How do you bring it up to command staff? How do you talk about it, right? Same thing that everyone talks about in every, whatever first responder we're talking about. And then I finally battled workers' comp. They maybe break down in front of a room full of lawyers to make sure that I needed the attention or the therapy, right? So over that time, I discovered the ketogenic way of eating and also carnivore, and started really taking control of my medicine, or actually my health, and ended up losing 80 pounds in 2019, 2020. I almost reversed my heart disease. I'm no longer pre-diabetic. I mean, I've really saved my life with just the way I was eating. So all that, and it ended up helping my brain. I started being able to manage my PTSD symptoms because I was feeling better. I learned different ways of eating and timing of eating, and then, meditation, and then stretching and other things. And of course, part of it was the Cops and Campers group that I started off an event in New York City, where I'd put up my thin blue line flag, and they told me to take it down. And that's where I kind of, one of the Campground guys rolled up in a golf cart. And this is one of the things I try to tell people. If this guy would have got out of the golf cart, introduced himself to me, shook my hand, said, hey, I'm blah, blah, blah with 1,000 trails. We've had incidents in the past. It's this 2021, your thin blue line. We support you, but we've had the other side here, and it's led to some issues. So we're looking out for you, right? I probably would have taken my flag down for my own family's safety, because this is 2021 in New York. You know, they were still flipping cars the year before. So I was like, well, I don't know where we're going to go with this. But no, he just rolled up and told me to take it down like he was some G. And I was thinking he's just messing with me like some fireman. Hey, you got to take your flag down, right? Nah, he was dead serious. And I ended up recording it. I don't know why, which I'm on the other side of it, right? Mr. Civilian now recording. And I lost my shit. You know, I got into the red really fast, and I wanted to destroy that dude. I mean, I got cops that passed away tattooed on my arm, and, you know, he's jumping on me about this flag, and it's been in my family since I was a kid, right? So I don't know. I kind of lost it. I wasn't proud of the way I acted. There's some other videos when the management came over, and I was super hot. I couldn't calm down, man. I could not calm down. So, you can tell I still go through this shit. But you know, I ended up, you know, overcoming it and staying. And then I learned certain rules about what you can do with the flags in certain campgrounds. And then, you know, I started reaching out, or people started reaching out to me all over the place. And they're like, hey man, bring your flag, you know, bring your camper, you can camp with us. And in the meantime, my camping club suspended me for 2 months. And people started canceling their memberships. I mean, it was just a complete shit show. And all I was just trying to do was camp and help guys. Hey, lose some weight, cut back the beer, drink some vodka instead. You know, I was just trying to help guys, right? And it just snowballed. Next thing you know, they had a rally there. New York State Police came out and stopped us. We had a big parade of thin blue line flags. I mean, it was, and I remember I was in the back of a truck, and at one point I'm like, we're going to go to pro first responder campgrounds. We're going to call it Cops and Campers. And I just kind of worked on a logo with a buddy of mine. And we had this idea from a Cops and Cabins thing we had done back in 2017, where he took 8 of us into a cabin and we all hung out, and somebody did like a 20-minute documentary on it. And I remembered that, and how therapeutic it was to be around a group of guys, whether I knew them or not. But I knew they were my brothers, they're my sisters. They've gone through everything I've gone through. Even worse, maybe not as bad, but they have some story or something that's relatable. And it was so therapeutic. And I'm like, this is what we need to do more often. So at these campsites, we have campfire talks. I have practitioners come out. I try to bring out yoga for therapy. I try to bring out doctors that are in the metabolic health, not just prescription-based metabolic doctors, you know, and I also bring officers out that have been through traumatic events and even maybe attempted suicide, and really can drive it home how this therapy can help them. And
well, let's talk about, we got to take our first break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about how you get people to come out to the events. All right. We'll be right back.
All right.
Interested? Move freely, America, without medical restrictions or penalty. Without medical freedom legislation in place, our rights and freedoms are one vote away from being dissolved. Move freely, America, with one voice, without fear of retribution, achieving a common goal, medical freedom. We the people make our voices heard by connecting with state legislators and engaging a constitutionally compliant medical bill of rights for all citizens. Individually, change is improbable, but as an aggregate, attainable. It's time to act with one voice. My voice.
And my voice.
And my voice.
And my voice.
To protect our freedom, creating one voice that cannot be ignored. This requires your voice, too. Move Freely America. Go to movefreelyamerica.org to find a chapter near you. Plug in, donate, and help our legislators defend our God-given rights under the Constitution. Move Freely America. My voice.
And my voice.
And together with your voice, we're one voice that cannot be ignored. Donate today. MoveFreelyAmerica.org.
Hey, welcome back to a Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam, with our special guest, Eric Reynolds, retired police officer, now the founder of Cops and Campers. You know, before we left, we were talking about some of your history, some of your journey that you took that got you here today. And we've said about couch therapy, equine therapy, you know, going on to kayaks and wilderness and everything else. But you bring up a great point. If your body and your nutrition is not in a good sync, you're chemically going to still be imbalanced. So you're talking about certain diet plans that are very easy to follow, that really kind of reversed a lot of your underlying medical conditions, will extend your life and has improved your mental health. So Eric, please continue with this, because it's really important for our listeners to learn about some of the nutrition behind the mental health?
Yeah, well, there's a direct link between your stomach and your brain, and if your stomach's all jacked up from a bad diet, it's going to affect your brain. You're going to feel lethargic. You're going to be slow. Maybe you're going to be grumpy because you're not eating satiating food enough. So you're always going through those hungers up and down, kind of like the sugar crashes and stuff. Mm-hmm. And once I started eating more food that was real and healthy and non-toxic, not sprayed with chemicals or made out of, cheap seed oils or maybe grains, which is just a filler. That's what they fed peasants back in the day. So, you just start to understand what's more beneficial for your body. And with me, I always battled my weight. I played high school football and I always was trying to put weight on as a lineman, right? Put on weight. And that's how I ate. Even as a cop, got to be big, got to bench press 315, right? And I get injured, a little bit because it turns out my ideal weight is probably 180 pounds, not 250 pounds. So if I'm lifting 300, I'm doing fantastic as a 180 pounder,
right?
But as a 250, I'm trying to keep up with the guys that are maybe really 250. And it was just a whole nother perspective by changing my diet, losing the weight. Losing 80 pounds. I can't tell you the last time I weighed 180 pounds. I must have been 8th grade, and that's insane, man. And it's insane that the corruption behind it. The cigarette companies bought the food companies, people. So the same addictive stuff they've done with our food. And they're in our government, they're in our legislation and stuff like that. And you see how they're trying to control food already, right? And, I healed myself with it, and like, I was saying with this Cops and Campers program, I want to bring in more, I want to do more catering. I want to bring in, obviously, I want to roast a pig at a Cops and Campers event, bring back the old days of when we embraced the pig talk, like at my mom's apartment, when they had fun with it. They had little action figures and stuff. I want a pet pig to take around these different campgrounds, but my wife's like, that's the one thing she's put her foot down on. You can't have no pig.
I think John could maybe help you with that pig, right? You have a connection, John, that does the stuffed, isn't it? You know who I'm talking about?
Well, it's funny you say that. We do have somebody in the UK that does the Stitch dolls. Yeah. And we have somebody, she could probably make those pigs and send them over from the UK, and you can pass them out, and it would be a good supplement. But I just want to backtrack something on the nutrition fact, because I know as soon as you started talking, and because we've been talking about nutrition, I understand it. But I'm sure there's a lot of cops out there that are going, "Oh, he's just another organic vegan type of guy, that wants to change our thought pattern." No, it's just getting away from a lot of the starches and the pastas and the white breads and the things that are going to clog your arteries, and you just want to open yourself back up. And it's not a hard thing or an expensive thing to do, right? Right. And,
mine was heavy meat based, and I found it, you'll even see it. We call it the carnivore poops because it's smooth. It's because you're out there in the wild, you don't have time to be reading a paper in the field while the lions are roaming around, right? You got to get it done and get out of there. And we have the digestive tract almost like wild dogs, so we're not supposed to be, eating as much as we do. We're supposed to be eating certain time periods of the day, you save your energy. A lot more leisure style lifestyle is what you're supposed to do. But I like to fast on duty. If the guys are out there feeding the coffee, I was telling you guys earlier about bone broth or maybe some collard. If you like a little sweetness, use a little stevia or monk fruit, because I grew up Dunkin' Donuts coffee, and I'm not gonna lie, I always like that extra cream and sugar. But there's things you can do. There's meals I can tell you how to eat on duty if you are going to eat. I like to fast though, because it keeps you hungry. It keeps you focused, just like a predator that's hunting. And by the end of your shift, you go meet up like Valhalla and go have bacon and eggs at your diner or something. And you talk about your day, fist bump, see you at the gym later, and then you do it again. And, it seems to be really helping a lot of my clients, which I say clients, they're cops and firemen and teachers and whoever's connected to our world reaches out. I don't charge. I'm like, hey, I got a story. This is how I did it. You can follow me if you want. Find your own. Get off the processed food. The first step. You got to get off that garbage, especially fast food. I can even work with alcohol. I know it's a depressant. It's not the greatest thing in the world. And I know a lot of guys that are, need an escape, a couple beers or something. That's all right. It's all that other stuff that's contributing to your, metabolic disease. And I know we got off cops and campers tangent.
Yeah, we totally took a different tangent, but you talk about that at cops and campers and beyond, and it's really important. Nutrition is an important foundation in terms of brain health, and you're offering a chance to bring the police officers, the firefighters, and their families together at a campground that you designate. When we come back from our next break, we're going to dive into cops and campers, how people can find you and get there, because it's a great place to decompress, which is what we talk about a lot. We'll be right back, everybody. Stay tuned.
Right.
Interested in starting a podcast or TV show? Worried about what you'll say and how to keep it engaging? Think you'd like to be a guest on podcast, radio, or TV shows? Hi, I'm Susan Hamilton, owner and founder of OBBM Network, and I would like to invite you to an OBBM media training to get the tools you need for a relaxed and polished performance you'll be proud to share. Our specialized training techniques include role play, voice training, and everything you need to deliver a confident, clear, and engaging interaction. Go to offbeatbusiness.com. Go to the calendar and register for a training that's convenient for you. Dates available now, 214-714-0495.
Hey, welcome back to a Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam, and retired police officer Eric Reynolds, founder of Cops and Campers. Before we left, we talked about nutrition, but there's a big balance in staying mentally healthy, and a lot of components come involved in that. And you kind of found a great solution. I mean, it may not work for everybody, it works for a lot of people, but it's the cops and the firefighters and the first responders that really need to take this first step in getting mentally healthy. Those first couple of steps may be a little difficult because we're not used to them. They're out of our comfort zone, but man, it becomes routine. And you kind of found that little niche. Want to know more about cops and campers and how more people can participate.
Yeah, so in 2021, when that flag incident happened, a campground in Ithaca, New York said, hey, bring your flag, your family, and your rig. You're staying with us. And that weekend, I met a lot of local cops, and there was cops in that campground that actually had their campers there. And I was like, man, we should do something like this next year. And they're like, yeah. And the campground owner said, yeah, let's do it. So the way it's set up is we have like the early bird Thursday night. The early people get there. We have a little campfire and we're just getting to know each other. Where are you from? Oh, Philadelphia. Oh, yeah. And next thing you know, this the Eagles versus the Giants talk or something like that. And then Friday is more of we have rock painting for the kids at noon. There's a big pool there, so kids are swimming all day anyways. And then we have Friday nights, another bonfire, a bigger one, because usually there's more people coming in. And we had yoga in the morning. Then Saturday's yoga, and then it starts taking off. We usually have like a cornhole tournament. We have guest speakers at noon. This is where I push the metabolic talk. So it's not the whole weekend. I'm not shoving that down your throat. It's only an hour, 2 hour block. And then we talk, PTS. And come 2 o'clock, we got the National Guard out there with a bounce house obstacle course for the kids. So they're running around, and then we got a tractor ride at 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock. And then 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock comes the band, Tailor Made. They come every year. They're a bunch of retired cops and corrections guys. And they just play Southern rock, man. And we're all just hanging out, man, and talking. And just the kids are playing. And what I found is a lot of guys or, us, they see their kids run around. They're almost remembering how it is to hang out with their kids and be a family again.
Yeah.
And then they're like, we got to do this again. I can't believe how much fun my kids had. And it's, you know what? No screens. It's just nature. Kids just running around like they're supposed to, fishing. I mean, there was a caper where my son lost his fishing pole because he put it down and the fish took off with it. And it went into the lake. And all the kids were like, it was a big caper. And then one other kid caught it later on. So, I mean, it was just so much fun.
Great.
And that's what ends up happening. And then guys want to come back the next year. And then, or you got to go here. Next thing you know, it's like Austin, Texas wants to do one. And then we got Utah that wants to do one. I got guys in Richland. I think it's Richland, Texas. I want to do something over there. So now I'm like, oh my goodness, I got to start adding some people to my tribe to help me out with this, because I may have bitten off more than I could chew.
Well, you got a big tribe here in Texas. That is for sure. So we welcome all the events here in Texas. And so, let's talk about the peer support. You have the bonfire. It's a chance for not only the guys and gals that serve actively, but also their family members. And whether it's in, the cops are and first responders are over here and the family members are over here. They all have a chance to talk about whatever they want if they need to get something off their chest, but it is peer support.
Yeah, and some of the guys we found that all of a sudden they find out they like fly fishing. So now they got their own sub unit. So it's like a roll call, and you would end up hanging out with a couple of guys in your zone. And now they're finding, oh man, we're going to go camping next month. They're going to, maybe they're going to Watertown or they're going to Michigan. And next thing you know, guys are starting to network themselves. And that's just another, source of someone to reach out to if they're feeling down or lonely or fighting with their wife. They can call another camper and go, yeah, I know what you mean, man. I've been there. Go for a walk, or something like that. So
the one thing I see about the campgrounds and what I like about it is, every cop, we go to the movies, or even if we go to a bounce house around town with our kids, right? We can't actually watch our kids because as a cop, we're in a hypervigilant state. We're watching for the threats so our kids don't get hurt, right? When you go to the wilderness, you're able to let your guard down. You're around, other cops and firemen and first responders, and you're just allowed to breathe for probably some people for the first time in a long time, being able to really just decompress, woosah type of thing, and enjoy for the first time watching your kids instead of going, hey, what happens? Where's that exit? Always scanning, so you bring a nice element. I like that. It's like,
you still got to look for bears and stuff on some of the hikes, though. You still got to be a little but it's different though. And it's, man, we definitely been given the short straw on how awesome it is to be outside on a daily basis, walking around. I know I sound like the hippie stuff, but it really is therapeutic. If I get frustrated, people are like, how do you live in a camper with a 12-year-old, 8-year-old, and your wife, and it's only a 28-foot camper, right? Well, lots of walks, lots of hiking. We go down to the river, we fish, I run, and I hit the gym. I take on some clients now and then to help out, or I teach people, or I do podcasts. And I'm always outside more than my whole life, and I ended up testing very high in a lot of mycotoxins and heavy metals and stuff. I think it was the environment down in Florida. I had mercury fillings in my teeth that led to some of my heart disease stuff. So I've really dove into this world, and it's not just your diet. There's other factors that can affect your health. And that's what's opening my mind. Like one of my buddies next to us, who's a retired volunteer fireman, had a stroke at the Cops and Campers event right next to us right after yoga. He didn't show up, and he called and he's like, man, I'm hurting. I don't know what's going on. And I got guys that have been paramedics with me, and we all run over, check him out. Paramedic was actually camping, so when they went on dispatch, he rolled up in his golf cart with his gear, and it turned out to be a mild stroke from my friend. He's 48 years old, decent shape, hasn't been drinking a lot, so it was just unique. Luckily, he was with us. I mean, if he was home alone, driving down the road, who knows what would have happened. But that's another thing I'm looking at now, strokes, and how that is impacting us with stress and the cortisol levels of a daily, we're always in flight, and then we come back home and we're always just dead, right? I don't want to make a decision, or, you don't want to listen to your wife's day, even though it's just as important as your day in the relationship context, right? So it's get outside, man. It's unbelievable, especially you do with your family, and life's so busy now that I think we've really forgotten how to do that. And then our kids are out of the house, right? And you're like, oh man, what are they doing?
How hard was it to make the transition? How, because you were a suburban guy, you had a house, right? To make that transition to camper life, how hard was that?
Well, I never towed before, so I was scared out of my mind, and it was like driving a police car the first time. I don't want to wreck it. I don't want to be the guy, and there's no lie. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie RV with, what's his name?
Robin Williams,
and everyone pulls up their chair when you're backing in. Man, that's how I felt like every time. One time I hooked up the pooper hose and pulled, and I looked at the other end and it had come out. So I was on a dead sprint with the black going down the hose, and I was able to make it in time, and no one saw it, but it was like my own hero moment in RV life. I was like, man, oh my God. But yeah, there was a lot of mistakes, but nothing bad. I didn't wreck, knock on wood, and it was scary. Not having a home to go back to was kind of weird, because every time you've gone on vacation in my whole life, you had to go back. School. Right. Go back to work. Someone's got something, right? My wife's got it. No, we don't go back. We just keep going. And then if we want to go home for the holidays, which we usually do because we're in a camper, it's a little too cold to stay up in upstate New York or Michigan or and we head back to Florida for the winter and see the family. And it's just long enough to, hey, we're leaving again. Right. And we're on these crazy adventures. It's awesome.
So let's talk about those crazy adventures when we come back from our next break. Stay tuned, everybody.
Look, when you need to respond to an aggressive situation to protect yourself, your family, or your property, understanding your firearm and legal position are critical. Officers know your skills are only as good as your commitment to training. So know what you're doing. So when you're in a vulnerable situation, we can count on your response. Whether you're a beginner or a licensed gun carrier, Carry in Texas offers basic firearms training, Texas permitless carry courses, license to carry, and basic 2A courses so you can understand the responsibilities, situational awareness, and learn the technical skill required when you carry your firearm. Go to carryintexas.com to find the right course for you. Join me, former United States Secret Service agent Samantha Horwitz, on the range for beginner basics, LTC prep, and range practice. Go to carryintexas.com today. That's carryintexas.com.
Hey, welcome back to a Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam. Retired police officer Eric Reynolds, founder of Cops and Campers. Traveling the countryside, going from state to state, and just living the good life that we all really deserve. We can't be sitting on the couch watching Judge Judy eating bonbons in our underwear and wasting our life away. You actually took the bull by the horns, and you are experiencing life with your family. And that's what we all aspire to, but many of us don't get there because we let the bad things get to us. And, your experiences out in the wilderness, and not even the wilderness, the campgrounds and the outdoor life. I don't want to make it like you're like some guy just living out in the woods,
Yeah.
But, the campground lives, and man, it's a scary thing. Did you have to get rid of a lot of materialistic things, though? Like just discard and declutter?
You got to get rid of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, the stuff owns you, right? That's what ends up happening. And, all your awards and all that. I got a box like that. It's at my mom's house again. But you can also do storage. And a lot of people, like what we want to do is have a home base. And there you can have either a barndominium where you can pull your rig in and still have a little bit of a house and still have some of your personal items like an office or freezers for food. So, there's ways you can still navigate. We just don't know where we want to settle down because everywhere we go, we're like, wow, this place is pretty awesome also, right? So it's like that year, 2021, we had pulled my kids out of school in 2018, just only one was in school, but out of first grade, because we just didn't like the way it was going with his development. It wasn't anything about woke stuff or anything that's going on now. And I'm glad we did, but it's like we had a crystal ball. And this life, letting him be able to do all this stuff and be active and explore and do his own learning of what he's into, has just been one of the best things for him. And then also with us going, I forgot where I was going, but I was talking about the homeschooling. What a big change. But my kids have grown up half their lives now, pretty much has been in a camper, especially my youngest. And they don't even remember me really on patrol. My oldest has a little trauma. There was a Nerf gun incident where he shot me with a Nerf gun and I shattered a Nerf gun. And turns out there's a lot of those stories with us cops and these Nerf guns. Maybe we don't need to get them. I don't know what it is. Because I'm trying to teach him discipline, right? But I don't want to give him the real thing. Yeah.
Hey, I have my own story with the Nerf gun and my kiddo. So, yeah, it is for real. And we leave those homes during Cops and Campers events. So it's copsandcampers.com, where you can find out more about the program. Eric, what if somebody wants to take part in this because the overall concept is great? They're like, I don't want to do couch therapy. I want to hang out with first responders that are like me and have my spouse hang out with the family, and then we can all hang out together. But I don't have a camper.
Well, what we do is we can rent them for you. There's different services like RV Share. Sometimes the local campgrounds have RVs that are there that you can rent. You don't have to pull it. You don't have to drive it or set it up. You just show up like a hotel. They give you the keys. They tell you about a few buttons. And it's like, wow, that's how I did it the first 2 times. We rented it. It was delivered. And I was like, all right, now I got to figure out how to tow it. That was the transition. But there's cabins. We had Kevin Donnelly come and talk with us. I got him a nice cabin for the family. you know, and they got to live a little rustic. Probably they weren't used to it. It was like, oh my gosh, they're more like glampers. I think he needs a big RV, you know, that looks like a house, you know, and the sides open up. But
you know, everybody's
different
different though, right? Everybody's different because first of all, if you've never been in one and you have claustrophobia, you know, and it's real. It's real. I've met people that are like, I cannot be in small spaces. It is good to know that the option is there at some of the sites to have the cabin where you can have the open space and then, you know, participate and, you know, maybe meet somebody that can help you with the claustrophobia part. But all kidding aside, it really is important to connect in a space that is supportive, and that's what you've done. That was your mission with Cops and Campers when it first started. There's a documentary out, copsandcampers.com, or just YouTube, Cops and Campers. You'll find it. It's like 35 minutes. Go watch it. You'll understand the mission. And now what it's grown into is so much more because you've got the nutrition, because you've got the fitness aspect, but everything is designed to provide comfort, to provide healing, to provide knowledge in a safe space where everybody feels like they belong. And we applaud you for doing this.
The one question I have, and I'm sure it's on everybody else's mind,
Are you gonna have to shoot a bear? No.
What? No, I'm just gonna be the one to say it. You know, living with your family in a camper, you cannot be any closer. How big is the bathroom?
It's a good size bathroom, but it definitely is a one person.
You know, it's got to be on everybody's mind. It's like, you know, those bathroom days. You like just make people leave the camper.
What happened this? Usually, a lot of campgrounds, there's a really nice bathroom shower like set up for a lot of people that like a lot of room, and you can use as much hot water as you want. So yeah, they have those around. Now, if you go camping at it like a state, you're gonna have to tough it out, man, and squeeze in there. So
yeah, I'm just thinking. You know, a lot of people don't even like to share hotel rooms. You know, airline bathrooms, camper bathrooms. It's one of those elephants in a room you don't want to talk about.
Yeah, so I think we're getting some interference. You kind of froze a little bit, Eric. Eric is coming to us live from wherever you are right now. I think
he's in upper New York by the Canadian border.
Okay, there we go. So maybe it's Canada that's blocking the signal right now. They don't like what we're saying, but yeah. So you know, John, I promise you, I have been camping in a tent and in a little cabin, and no matter what, the campground, they do have a lot of them, like a big guys and gals shower, dressing stall, bath, you know, so you're covered there. You got room.
Yeah, and like I said, there's always hotel rooms around also.
Yeah, well, that's no fun. Then you're not experiencing. The hotel is not experiencing in nature. You know, I wanted to ask you, does your wife lead anything with the spouses?
She should. She's really big in like kids nutrition, and obviously she's been the other side of me and helping me with my issues over the years. She's the one that first told me I needed to probably talk to somebody, and it wasn't because of a particular incident. She just kind of saw it building, you know, and right before I was lucky enough to get an evidence job 6 months after I was shot, because it was 3 months I was out recovering, 3 months back on the road. And that 3 months was wild, man. I pulled my gun out several times, more than I usually did, you know, and there was a couple of times where I almost pulled the trigger again. And I was like, man, I'm going to kill somebody, because I'm just anticipating. I'm just all the time. And then you're playing scenarios ahead to the end now, like, and then the end is always a shooting or some type of violence, instead of just looking at a positive situation. Like, it's just an alarm. No, I'm looking, there's a bad guy in there. He's going to be, you know, hiding in a closet. And then by the time you clear it, I'm still there for the rest of the night. So she called me out on a couple of things. I got an evidence job so I could, you know, slow the demons down for a while, but you know, they were still there. And like I said, once I learned how to dance with it and manage it, you know, and it's always there, but it's saved me. and getting out of the job. I left a lot of money on the table. I left the drop money on the table. I left the house behind, and we sold everything and just living off my pension, traveling the road, looking for a new life. And that's okay, man, because I'm with my family all the time. I'm watching my boys. I'm able to raise them in the men I expect them to be because I'm with them,
Oh, wow.
I'm jealous
Amen.
of the people you must meet so many different people.
Oh, wow. Everybody. It's like, those old days where people would meet travelers, like Star Wars. You walk into that bar and you see an alien with a big green trunk or whatever. We meet so many cool people that have done cooler things than we do. And it's just nice. You get a different perspective, people from other parts of the world, and then other people like from Canada. And you're like, oh my God, I'm glad I'm on this side of the St. Lawrence River,
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we got to take our next break, and we'll come back and talk about how people can find you and get involved. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back.
Rise and vibe with your new elevated morning ritual. Meet Rise by Frequence. Frequency charged nutrition. Rise is formulated with a blend of 7 different organic mushrooms, B vitamins, amino acids, and green coffee bean extract. Rise supports brain health, performance, and focus while enhancing mood, mental clarity, and energy. Enjoy the delicious mango lemonade flavor while giving your mind the nutrients it needs. Get charged up with Rise. Fuel your body and mind today.
All right. So real quick, because this is a new commercial, I want to tell you about how you can rise and shine. We've been talking about the nutrition part of what it means to be mentally healthy. And I got to tell you, I've been taking this stuff called Rise, also the Source Naturals, and it is a game changer. Okay, the sugar cravings are gone. I have it first thing in the morning, almost like a pre-workout, and I combine them. It tastes like the best iced tea, especially because it's like 1,000 degrees here in Texas. And the best part about it is my brain, I am tuned in for the rest of the day. Frequence is the company. And Frequence is absolutely committed to quality. Okay. GMO-free, keto-friendly, dairy-free, soy-free, gluten-free, sugar-free. And the best part, 30-day money-back guarantee on all of their products. I am telling you, first responder community, we gotta stop, especially with the sugar. And John can tell you, every time we do our workshops, it's 1, 2, 3 of these crappy energy drinks, all loaded with sugar and chemicals. It's basically killing you. So why not put something really good, all natural in your body? Again, 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to abadgeofhonorhealth.com. You can get Rise as well as the Source Naturals, or just try some Rise like I did. I promise you will not be disappointed. abadgeofhonorhealth.com. So, Eric, we've been talking about cops and campers. How can people find you? How can people get involved in the cops and campers community?
Pretty much copsandcampers.com, and on all social media, it's Cops and Campers. I do run a Facebook group and a page. The Facebook group is a little more interactive by people part of the group. There's campground suggestions. There's funny memes. I'll put up some podcasts about health and stuff. And, it's just to kind of get us a place to go if people are looking, maybe even sell a trailer or something. But yeah, Cops and Campers is pretty much everywhere. YouTube, it's all under Keto 5-0. That's 5-0 like Hawaii 5-0. It was given to me by a coworker, lost 50 pounds, kept calling me Keto 5-0. So it stuck, and, I ran with it and started my other, nutrition. And I'm an advocate. I can help guys read blood work. I've gone through, like I was mentioning to you, the mycotoxins and heavy metal testings. I had a tremendous high calcium score, over 4,000, which has got my cardiologist and people really tripping out about, is this harder on first responders, the whole calcium buildup and plaque, than it is on the average population? So there's something out there called lean mass hyper responders, where you're in good shape, but your LDL is jacked up, but it's okay because your other factors like your A1C and your, C-peptides and some of your other inflammation factors are really normal. So it's like, yeah, so I've really taken a deep dive in that world. If any guys have any questions, at Keto50, I'm here to help you, and I can point you the right direction if you have questions, you know.
So they can join the group even if they haven't taken part in a camp yet, right?
Right.
Just to
Oh,
get
yeah.
in touch
Anybody
with
can join, friends, whatever, just, you know, join it. And it's also a page of, you know, the Cops and Campers page and Facebook, you know, and we're on, you know, I hate to say TikTok, but we're on Twitter. We're, you know, you've had to kind of throw yourself out there in different avenues because I've reached out to different, you know, first responders on different networks. So it's been very, very beneficial. And yeah, man, it's real easy. Cops and Campers. I mean, my son makes fun of me for crying in a lot of podcasts. So he calls me Cops and Pampers, you know? So he made a little meme. He made a little meme with ChatGPT, and it's a baby cop in diapers crying, and it said "Cop and Pampers." I'm like, all right, kid, but it's therapy. He knows. Dad's working on some stuff, and you know, it's part of my healing, and he embraces it. He knows. You know.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then I know we missed you. We were trying to get this show before you had your last event. But that didn't work out because you were on the road a lot. When is the next event?
Right now, it's next July 10th through 12th, Ithaca, New York. That's our meat and potatoes event. The other one in Salerno Ridge area of Ellijay, Georgia. That's the Blue Ridge. That's kind of a smaller get together. We're still trying to work out what date that's going to be because there's actually a North Georgia RV show at the same venue. So this way cops can come camp or check it out, and they have RVs for sale that they can walk in, check out. You know, maybe it'll drive more business and guys getting a camper. So that's what I'm targeting, and that'll be released once we know more. And like I said, Austin, Texas wants to do one. You know, I want to get with like maybe we get Five Finger Death Punch, get some comedians out there, and we have a good time and barbecue and really do it the Texas way, you know?
Yeah.
That sounds great. I think John has some hookups for some music and some comedians.
Yeah,
you're on the correct podcast, my friend. We'll make it happen.
Got
We'll
a
make
great
it
guy,
happen.
and I'm going to give him a plug over in Austin, Texas, that I will get you connected with. Xavier Muriel. He was the drummer for Buck Cherry. Awesome. And he has a band now that's called Black Smoke Sinners, and they absolutely rock. And there's another guy out there from Suede. Two amazing Austin bands that you should look up and take a look at because they are about giving. They are all about giving back to our veterans, our first responders, and anybody else, man. So check those guys out. I'm sure they will help.
Oh, no, you got me now. I'm already circling the calendar for 2025. We just got to work on time of year and a venue, you know. We'll get it there.
Maybe me and Sam can get down there and we'll broadcast live and we'll put it out there. Firsthand experience with you out there. Maybe we'll come out.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, with our families and just add more to the calendar. We don't have to wait till 2025. Let's pack it in there.
Yeah.
But well, I guess we are coming up on 2025. My God, it's flying. Yeah, let's pack 2025. What am I saying?
Let's do it.
Right.
It'll be great.
Hey, yeah, Eric, you know, I wanted to ask you, your kids are obviously involved in this with you, and, you know, they're seasoned veterans. How have they helped, you know, first responder families with the kids that come out, kind of just relax, kind of get the lay of the land? Because doing it as a parent, that never works. But when you got other kids.
Yeah, my kids are little leaders. The homeschool community, I mean, when I was a kid, it was always kind of a strange, you know, like stereotype you got with it. And then over the years, I started meeting more and more, like doing community outreach programs as a cop. I started meeting kids that were in leadership roles, whether it was like, you know, Cub Scouts or your own, what do you call it, your little baby cops. And so, and you'd find out these homeschool kids, and you know what? We treat our kids like adults. We give them responsibility. We don't beat them down. They still get a little bit, you know, we try not to, a little bit of video games now and then, but they're well-mannered and they're also level because of their diets. We don't give them a bunch of sugar. They don't really have any sugar. They eat a ketovore diet, which is meat, vegetables. Their treats are maybe some almond butter or maybe some like frozen berries, blueberries, strawberries. We don't do juices. We don't do sodas, and we just kind of measure, they're not getting high all day. I mean, that's what the sugar and some of those high carb foods are doing. They're getting your child high, like the breakfast cereals. And then, so we manage that and we see their behavior, how it's just pretty much steady, across the board. And they're very big on influencing other kids. My kids will eat pork rinds and other kids are eating Doritos, and kids are like, why are you eating pork rinds? He's like, well, it's better for me because look at the ingredients. It says pork rinds, right? And the bag of Doritos are like half the page, and, those kids can't reread that. And, sparkling water versus sodas, and juices. And my kids lead by example, and they don't even know it. They're being indoctrinated in a healthy lifestyle. And when they step out, hey, you can have some ice cream, they feel like crap. They feel it. But they understand it, and they're in control of it. We don't keep the stuff in the house. People are like, oh, but my kid likes it. Well, you're the parent. Take control of the diet and get it out of the house. I always say, let me do a Keto 5.0 search warrant on your cabinet or your pantry. And people are like, no, well, then that's the problem, right?
Yeah, that's the no, that we're not going to be doing that. Families want to go on vacation. You got to have that. You got to have that break every once in a while. But Eric, this has been great. Again, copsandcampers.com. Go to YouTube, Cops and Campers, watch the documentary, find out more, connect with Eric, Keto 5.0 everywhere and Cops and Campers everywhere. And the mission is awesome. John and I are definitely with our family. We are in. What you're doing is spectacular. You're doing it in awesome places. And we look forward to following you around the country. Yeah, so thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Very cool.
All right. Take care.
All right, thank you, man.
Out there.
Stay away from the bears.
Yeah.
Yeah, stay away from the bears. Take care. This was fantastic. Love it. A lot of nutrition on this show, which it kind of like just flowed with, this being the first time that we're talking about frequency and everything with the rise and the Source Naturals. So, it for everybody that tunes in every single week on your favorite platform, thank you so much for your support. Keep hitting that like and subscribe button. I think we're coming up on like 250 subscribers and I forgot what they call it on LinkedIn, but we're blowing up. Thank you, LinkedIn family, for keeping it real and just keep sharing the replays and everything. We'll have it up there. For everybody out there, there is a therapy modality. I'll just call it that for you. Maybe it's Cops and Campers. Maybe it's getting into a kayak. Maybe it is traditional couch therapy or something like EMDR. Maybe you mix them all together. You are in the right place here at A Badge of Honor. And we have got you covered with all of it. If you recognize that you need to let some steam out, you need to do it in a healthy way, badgeofhonor.org. Scroll down to our partners and resources. You will see Cops and Campers on there soon, where you can click on the logo and boom, you are on the website. You've got the phone numbers. You've got the connections. And so it's as easy as that, because it is our mission to bring you, to be aligned with people that want to bring you the best in care and healthy lifestyle, wellness and resiliency, whatever it looks like. We got you covered. It's also a place where you can find out where we're going to be. We've got a bunch of events coming up, kicking off our fall season. John and I will actually, next week, will be in Irving, speaking at First Responders Conference put on by the Irving Police Department. You can get T-Cole credits, so go to badgeofhonor.org. Click on events. You can find out. I think it's free to attend. You just need the Eventbrite. You just need a registration, so you can go there. And then we'll be in departments starting in September. A lot of joint workshops with our partners in the equine therapy space and beyond. So check it out there. To all of our first responders out there, we are praying for you every single day. You have got a tribe that cares about you. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing the job you know how to do well. Do not pay attention to any of this BS distraction. Okay, don't let other agencies throw you under the bus. You know your mission, stick to it. We support you. Thank you for taking care of our communities. For all of our veterans out there, thank you for fighting the good fight to allow John and I to do a show like this every single week and fly whatever freaking flag we want to. God bless it. God bless you, Eric, for
Yes.
highlighting that. Yeah. And also to our active duty personnel spread out across the globe. Can't forget that they're out there. Okay, thank you for keeping our shores safe here at home. Let's take care of everybody out there. Let's take care of our communities together. Let's get healthy together. And John, take us home.
And Sam, you said it. You said it all. Just find the modality that's right for you. Do what works for you, but just don't just sit back and wait for something to happen. You got to take that first step and start the ball rolling. So I know it's a little difficult, but make that move. Until next week, peace.
Take care, everybody. See you next week.
A Badge of Honor podcast is produced for the OBBM Network podcast and protected under copyright law. For content permissions, please submit your request to abadgeofhonor.com on the content page. For OBBM Network programming information, please call 214-714-0495 today.